4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, what's up, Minnesota Vikings fans? This is another episode of House Calls brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I am your host, the Skull Doc, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Dave. Dave, you were coming in and out. Do you catch me? Copy? Loud and clear?
Yeah.
Okay. The picture was laggy, so I was just hoping that you could hear me okay.
It's just my face. So
yeah. That's funny. Big news, man. Friday, I'm at work. I'm in between patients. Just scrolling Twitter, and boom, GM Minnesota Vikings Kwesi Odafe-Mensah has been fired. Shocked. I was just completely shocked. I mean, talk about the timing. The season's been over for the Minnesota Vikings for several weeks now, and usually, if you're seeing a GM fired, it's right after the end of the season. And so the timing was just weird. I had to make sure that it wasn't a joke account. It was for sure real. And then we had all this fallout, all this dirty laundry that came out. So my partner, Dave, I'm just going to let you go and react to the news. And where were you on Friday when you heard it?
So I was in I was on a cruise ship, still in port, and we're about an hour from leaving port to where I would not have internet for the next 4 days. So I saw, the Vikings fired Kwesi, and then the Twins fired their version of a GM, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna be without internet for the 4 days because I'm too cheap to pay for it, and I want to pay attention to my family. So I sat there and suffered for 4 days, and I read as much as I could in the hour that I had, as much as I could. And yeah, my first thought was, didn't I just see this guy down in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl? What the hell? And one of my last thoughts was, he gave that sometimes we make mistakes speech. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't good. And one of the guys at Skullbro says, I think the Wolves saw that speech and decided to fire him after that, or that press conference. So it's like, yeah, I really do think Sam Darnold making it to the Super Bowl had a lot to do with this. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is just it's suspicious. Like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? And I think the Sam Darnold making the Super Bowl, that probably makes the most sense to me, that was the final straw. But when you read these pieces, have you had an opportunity to read Alec Lewis's piece or Matthew Collar's piece, or even
I didn't
Harif
read them, but
Hassan?
I heard excerpts of why, a lot of crap that's been going on, but not specifically from them.
So I'll just kind of highlight some of these, factors that led into this, like the paternity leave thing we'll talk about, but that was this huge thing that blew up on the internet. And to me, it was such a small thing that it really didn't even primarily factor into why he was fired, but secondarily it did.
That was an anecdote to a much bigger issue.
Correct. So first of all, Kwesi Odafe-Mensah has a different background than all other GMs in the NFL. The Vikings went out on a limb and they said, we're going to try to moneyball this. We are doing something different. He's a very intelligent man. He interviewed extremely well, and the Wolves bought into him. And the first impression, well, first of all, it's coming out now that the front office members of the Minnesota Vikings, you have to keep in mind that the front office is made up of scouts who have been grinding for multiple years, missing birthdays, missing their wife's birthdays, working long hours on the road constantly. So they are putting in countless hours for, pay that's probably modest, with the ultimate goal of being a GM someday, but they'll never achieve that goal. And now there's a new guy coming into town with this completely different background. He's never really had to, grind like these scouts, these other, front office members. And I think that there was probably a level of animosity in the building for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, just because he was different in the way that he came into football. So with that being said, it was an uphill climb from day one for Kwesi to be able to lead these people. Yeah, Daniel says baby face. So we're potentially going to Florida, and so I didn't want to go and like tan and then have like a white beard if I decide to shave later. But anyways, so we had this uphill climb to lead this group, and then of course the 2022 draft. He came out later and said he made a mistake with the trade down. He tried to fix too many holes at once, so that was not a great impression. Okay, so that was tough for somebody who had to fight an uphill battle to gain the trust of the front office, and it seemed like he lost people even more. So then you had the 2023 thing where you had the paternity leave, and like the Wilfs signed off on this. They had no problem with it. It was the others in the front office, and then it was the outsiders and other, NFL ball clubs that were like, "Oh, that's kind of different." Because, as much as we can sit here and say, "Oh, like let him, see his kid," like what the hell? Everybody else gets paternity leave. The NFL just doesn't operate like that, right or wrong. It's just a culture of grinding and missing things like that. Um, you know, Jeremiah Searles and Alex Boone have come out and said this on the recent podcast on the offensive line committee, that it's just not the way the NFL works. So again, there was just a lot of little things that rub people the wrong way. And much like a coach can lose the locker room, I think Kwesi just lost the locker room. He lost the front office, and the Wilfs made the decision that we really can't continue to do this when nobody's buying what he's selling. And so they decided to make a change. What do you have to say to react to all of that?
So, like I said, it was an anecdote for a larger problem. You kind of, I think, described the larger problem. The anecdote, though, I will address. And Ben Lieber said, and I saw Sherrill say the same, similar thing, is like, name me another guy that got 2 weeks off for a kid being born during the season, or even preseason, or in the camp. I think it happened during camp, and you have to cut down to 90 people, and you're taking 2 weeks off. Sure, you're on your computer and back at home. You don't see, if you're away, you're out of mind, and you're the leader, and you're out of mind. And it's like, of the rest of the crew, it makes sense now. You kind of put the pieces together after things come out. Sure, someone probably didn't like him. Probably release that to press, or finally those guys that actually have access can say it now because they couldn't while he was there, or they would lose access. You see what I'm saying? Like, some guys, yeah, I saw this coming. Yeah, you didn't say it because you wanted to keep your access. So, people are complaining to, some people about that why didn't you say this before? Are you afraid you lose your access? It has a lot to, do with what we don't hear now. We sometimes, it seems like, the Vikings are a steel cage where they don't let anything out. But once something that happens and they're gone, like Spielman was gone or Zimmer was gone, and all the dirt came out about Zimmer afterwards. Well, now we're getting it about Kwesi. And I think someone wrote, I don't know, I can't remember who it was, about how he maybe spent too much time at the computer doing analytics and looking at stuff, and not out there meeting with his people and taking the temperature. Let's say. My initial thought when we were hiring him is like, this guy doesn't have a football background at all, didn't play it. He was an analytics guy. I mean, it's like making the guy on the Moneyball, the Jonah Hill character, a GM. Never put, just was just an analytics dude. Let's make him a GM. And, and he came from a, stock market background. Now, he kind of won me over with his, speech when he came, because it was a lot better than the one that was going on in Chicago. He just seemed like he was going to put his all into it. So I gave him a chance. You heard me say about how I felt like how he tried to connect with players through, hey, tell me your favorite song. And then, we see after the draft they come visit, and he goes, hey, remember when you told me about your favorite song? And they look at him like, the song, and you'd say the song, and it's like, well, how do you, he would ask that question. Tell me what song motivates you, or what song, and I was like, please don't tell me you chose Louis Scene based on a connection you had about music. Just please don't tell me that. And I think, because I know I think he said something like that to Booth, who I like, so I can't blame him for that. And we got him in the second round. But I felt like he made the people he drafted, it was for different reasons than you should draft a player. And honestly, you pick a right guard that has a history of molesting his cousins. Why would we draft a player like that? Sure, he's having success now. And then in the second round of God-forsaken places, it just that those kind of decisions that he made kind of really threw me off. But I gave him a lot of props on free agency until this last year when I look at the contracts of our defensive tackles. We saved money for not letting Sam Darnold go to pick those two guys up. I mean, I thought they were okay players, but then I was like, what? We paid them how much? So, I mean, just, player evaluation, Sam Darnold letting him go probably bit him in the ass in the end. But again, looking in deeper, it sounds like maybe he wasn't on the same page with a lot of the old timers that were still with the Vikings. That it sounds like they're releasing the dirt that they've been building up inside for a while.
Yep. And it was interesting. I did see something that said that Brian Flores had trepidation about the direction of the front office when he was returning to the Vikings. And so that could be another part of it, that Flores just did not see eye to eye with Kwesi in the way that he was building a team, maybe the way that he was leading the building. And so that could have been part
Pettin,
of it.
right? Pettin's bad mouthing Flores, and Pettin was a defensive not it was he was an influence on the defense. We hired him to do that. I wanted him to take over mid-season for Donashell, and because he had some success in with the Packers, but he switched to offense this past year, and the defense flourished. So it's kind of like, hey, get these guys that I don't like are out of my way. So that kind of would make sense that Flores would think that.
Yeah, 100%. So how do you feel about the way that they now are handling the GM search for the new guy? They've pushed that search out past the draft, and Rob Brzezinski is going to be the leader through free agency and through the draft. Do you see this as a trial run for him?
That was the word that was just going to come out of my mouth, is that it seems like it's going to be a trial run. Do you really bring somebody in, but to start things completely over and try to figure it out before the draft? We're really in. I do this maybe, and I said this in a show I was on earlier today, that hey, I feel like O'Connell is a good judge of talent. I think he's a good evaluator of talent. I don't think he has the value of picks compared to like maybe a Rob Brzezinski might have, that they might work well together as a two-headed GM for now. Could they get could they take some time and figure out the GM status? But again, GMs want to hire their coach. They want to draft their quarterback a lot of times. So is this a 1 year show me what you got type of thing? Is now O'Connell on the hot seat? This is me first time saying it. You just, because if you're gonna get a GM, he's gonna want what he wants.
Yeah, it's really a fascinating question, because I don't know where I fall on that. Like, a majority of me believes that the Wilfs really do love Kevin O'Connell.
Oh yeah, I think.
And there's a lot of talk about, hey, if he doesn't win a playoff game next year, he could be out. But I could easily see a scenario where they roll with JJ McCarthy. He's just not it. They don't have a great season. and they allow Kevin O'Connell to stay with its GM, and they both select the next quarterback, and
Yeah, I
they
mean,
move
there's
on.
a
I mean, I could
ton of
see that.
possibilities.
Yeah. So, it's tough to say, but yeah, you'd have to think that with the way that things went down, Kevin O'Connell seems to be calling the shots this offseason. Same with Brian Flores. They are going to create the shopping list for Brzezinski, same as they always did for Kwesi, by the way. This coaching staff has always really been heavily involved with player selections. And that goes back to C. Lou and Lewis Seen, that that was a GM picking what Ed Donatel put on the shopping list, and unfortunately, bad scheme, bad player, so completely missed pick. Daniel says Kyle Hamilton still haunts me. Absolutely, it does. I did see a post the other day from Ben Gessling saying that if they had stayed at 12, they would not have taken Kyle Hamilton. They would have taken Jameson Williams. So something to keep in mind.
I also like the D tackle from Georgia.
Jordan Davis,
the Eagles.
Yeah, Jordan Davis.
Those were the three guys I had listed as the three guys I wanted for 12, and they're all. You can say Jameson Williams has been better. He's a deep threat, and he would be an asset to the team.
Yeah. But where were we going with that? I just lost my train of thought there, Dave.
I mean, maybe we finished it. We were talking about the GM
in the hot seat. Right. So I think Brzezinski, extremely qualified. He could have been the GM a long time ago, but he's never wanted that position. He's been comfortable where he is as the cap guru for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, he's very heavily involved within the front office. He makes trade phone calls. He executes trades. He does free agent planning. He does draft planning. He does everything. So I think he's definitely qualified to step in as the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings.
I wonder what Scott
we'll see how it goes.
Studwell thinks. Would that if Scott Studwell would be on that list? He was a former college.
Yeah, he's retired.
I mean, is he forever? I don't know.
I think so. He was our director of college scouting for a while, and
yeah, and my favorite player all time. So
yeah, he rode off into the sunset. I don't think he's coming back. But Jeremiah,
I don't think he left on the greatest of terms. There was because I think probably Zimmer. I don't know.
So Daniel thinks that Kevin O'Connell, if he bombs this year, we could see Brian Flores taking over. I could see that. I just think the Wilfs really do like Kevin O'Connell. I think they love the culture he's established, and I think that he's getting a lot of grace for a situation where right now people are throwing a lot of dirt on Kwesi. I think Kevin O'Connell, as it was reported, was heavily involved in the JJ McCarthy pick. I think that was his pick. Now, I do believe that he went to Kwesi and he said, hey, this kid might not be ready. Let's make sure we have a backup plan. And Kwesi messed that up. This team did not have a backup plan this year. And that could have damaged JJ McCarthy, forcing him into play like that when Kevin O'Connell is Mr. Organizations fail quarterbacks before quarterbacks fail organizations. So that could have been a huge rift this year between the two of them, leading to Kwesi's departure.
Yeah, I agree on, because I do believe JJ McCarthy was a player that after Drake and May wasn't available, that he would go to, and it seemed like the Rams head coach talked to him, and he kind of knew that he was liking JJ McCarthy when he called him. Now you're going to take that guy, take JJ McCarthy, right? And then of course he was pretty excited when we went up and got Dallas Turner, but then you got two guys that really couldn't contribute right away, right? And that's for a team that could win now, right? So, and I do believe O'Connell didn't after having JJ McCarthy in house, that he realized he wasn't quite ready, especially after being hurt for a whole season. Then you're thinking, okay, he's in camp. Oh man, he's not ready. but you lost Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
It's and I tell people, I'm like, coaches and players, NFL vets and coaches do not want their season to start with a quarterback playing his first snap. They want someone who's been around, has experience. Now, eventually, they're gonna have to go to a guy, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to. They want a guy that's proven, and obviously Sam Darnold proved himself. And now I feel bad too. Like, I didn't originally want. I said Sam Darnold's got to come in here and win the job, but I was like hoping JJ McCarthy would win it. Then after 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, we got some here with Sam Darnold. Couple of bad games throughout the season, and then even after the Lions game, I'm like, oh, it's one bad game. He was just off a little bit here and there, and then I was still like, I want him back. I'm leaning him coming back, and then the playoff game happened. I was like, God, this was awful. This was like one of the worst quarterback games I've seen. Now I'm like, okay, whatever you guys decide, I'm cool with JJ McCarthy starting next year. So, but then when you look back and you think that was his first year in the playoffs. He's 26. This is like his breakout year. Now he's got that under his belt. God, what could have happened this year? Could we have played better when our line was hurt with him in it? Probably. Would we have won another game to make the playoffs? Probably. It's like so many things that could have happened that gave us an opportunity. Is the Eagles team that much better than ours? I don't know. We probably will never know, but Sam Darnold would have made a big difference, and Kevin O'Connell probably was right. Probably said something. The Wills probably know he said something, and that's why he's still on the team. And JJ and Quasey's off of it.
Yeah, I want to highlight Soli's message here. He said Kevin O'Connell has blood on his hands as well. He failed to adapt the offense to McCarthy earlier, and it showed. So he's not wrong. It took a while for him to quote unquote dumb down the offense, and that's when we started seeing McCarthy have some more success. And a lot of that, we have to agree, was against just really bad defenses. The Commanders, the Cowboys, the Packers for a half at the end of the season when they weren't playing their starters, and then the Giants before he got hurt in that game as well. But my question to you guys, which is kind of rhetorical, but I do want you guys to answer, is something that I try to keep in mind is, this team was ready to go to a Super Bowl this year. The defensive output was Super Bowl caliber. The offense just needed to do legit anything to help them win games. Now, the team is constructed to throw the football with TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and of course, Justin Jefferson. Okay. As you guys are saying in the comments, the offensive line was injured. That really hurt us. But Kevin O'Connell's system is built off downfield passing. Okay. Look at the Rams system. Look at Matthew Stafford throwing the ball downfield. That is absolutely, and hunting explosives, right? That's Kevin O'Connell's phrase. He's always saying we have to hunt explosives. I have no issues with that game plan. I think it works. And Matthew Collar's done research that kind of looks at Super Bowl winners, or at least Super Bowl contenders. And it says these are the things that these teams need to be a Super Bowl contender. And it's usually 12 or more wins. It's a point differential of at least plus 100. It's being like top 4 in passing DVOA. Like, it's really, really important to be a top passing team as of late in the NFL. Now, this year, we don't see that because the defenses are so strong. But like, the running game doesn't matter as much in terms of Super Bowl contenders throughout these last 10 years. So keeping all that in mind, I think Kevin O'Connell's sniffing up the right path of how do we win a Super Bowl? Okay. Not how do we win 10 games and get in the playoffs, but how do we get into a Super Bowl? And so my rhetorical question now comes into play. Did he make a mistake by not taking or applying the training wheels earlier to McCarthy to try to just boost his confidence and win a couple, squeak a couple games out? Or was he correct to continue to try to force it and run his system and hope that it clicked, knowing that if it does click, this team could make a run and be dangerous in the playoffs with McCarthy. So I tend to lean on the side of, this is your system. This is your system. This is how you plan on winning a Super Bowl. You need to know if McCarthy can do that. So he needs to be able to do that. You need to be able to see that. However, if he's injured and it's just not working right now at this time and he cannot execute it and it's not going to work, why are you going to continue to bang your head against the wall? So I struggle with that, but do you at least see where I'm coming from, Dave? And do you see the issues? Like, how would you proceed next year? Because I fall in the line of, you should try to make him run the system next year. Take all the training wheels off and run this downfield system, hunt for explosives.
He's got to be able to throw a better deep ball, recognition, reading defenses. It's got to come together for him. And I felt like next year he'll play like I thought he would this year. And we didn't think he was going to be like that fantasy guy you said was like 4,200 yards and like 30 touchdowns. And we thought, God, we're going to the Super Bowl if he does that. No, we were thinking, mid 3,000s, 20 some touchdowns and, double digit interceptions, right? We thought he would have been good enough. I think that's what I expect from him this coming year, is being good enough. And hopefully our defense is consistent all year long. I don't think it was, because we got just destroyed by Seattle, on every game. But we'll have more. We'll have games where we just maybe don't lose that Bears game. We shut them out, kind of thing, or just defense will be even better, I think. But God, I don't feel like it was too advanced what he was doing. I remember the early 2 games he played of him getting tripped, when I was scrambling. I felt like he didn't get the ball out fast enough in some occasions in the first few games he played. I felt like later on he was more comfortable, but again, the offensive line wasn't playing that great at the beginning of the season. So he wasn't getting a whole lot of opportunity, a whole lot of time. So when he had the time and he was playing less than stellar defenses, he started looking better. He had probably had 4 good games that were good enough, or and a couple that were, hey man, this guy can play football. I think it'll slow down for him. I do think he can put more on his plate. He needs to run more plays. The offense needs to get up to the line, give him a chance to read defenses. Can he read defenses? Can he adjust line protections? Can he, is that his responsibility? I don't know. That's something we never seem to know, is who's calling the line, who's making adjustments there. Can he do it? Are they calling 2 plays in the huddle? Like, hey, if we see this, go to this and call it at the line. Can he do that shit? I don't know if they're letting him do that. I think he mentally and intelligent wise, he probably can. Are they letting him do that? So that might be that next step. And we saw that with when going from Zimmerman to O'Connell, we saw that changed in Cousins. Like, there was a lot more put on his plate from the previous year. It's like, run the fucking play under Zimmer, and under McCarthy, it was like, get up there with 15 seconds left and see, and adjust. So can he do that? Can McCarthy do that now? Maybe the first few games it'll be pretty vanilla, but can he progress throughout the year and get to what the Patriots quarterback can do now?
Well, Daniel says, I think that McCarthy can get better, but Kevin O'Connell has to swallow his pride. He's got to get a lot better, guys. I mean, Justin Jefferson needs a quarterback who can get him the football routinely, and it was nowhere near good enough this year. The fact that he got 1,000 yards is because he's a God-given talent, best wide receiver in the game with the quarterback play that he had. I do think the Minnesota Vikings want to run the football better, if not more, than what they did. Their run efficiency was actually not bad this year. I think they were like 11th or 12th in the league in terms of run efficiency, but it was still clunky to say the least, and it lacked imagination. And it was a lot of just line up and run it straight ahead. Now, we did go out and make a couple hires, so we're going to get into that now. There was some scuttlebutt that the Vikings were interested in Frank Smith. Darren Wolfson had that in the Scoops podcast, and he was right. So the Vikings went out and got the offensive coordinator from the Dolphins. His name is Frank Smith. He's 44 years old. He's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He has a lot of history along the offensive line as a coach, as a tight end coach. He's been with the Dolphins since 2021 as the offensive coordinator. He was voted in 2023 as the number one offensive coordinator in the league. And I would say his calling card is he is going to be an asset in the run game and as a run game coordinator. Now, the Vikings don't have an official title on this team as run game coordinator, but I think that, it's a lot of minds coming together, and I think that he's going to be one of those minds. Now, along with that move, the Vikings did not bring their offensive line coach, Chris Cooper, back, so they have elevated Keith Carter. A lot of fans were not happy about that because Keith Carter is the guy that has history who has pissed off some players like Mekhi Becton at the Jets or Taylor Lewan with the Titans. He can be hard on his players. This is an offensive line with Christian Darrisaw who, to be honest with you, I don't know how well he does with people being hard on him. Just my honest opinion. Brian O'Neill, he's a vet. He's been injured in the past. He needs, he may not want to go balls to the wall all of training camp. So that's something worth watching with a guy like this. However, he's had really good run blocking schemes in the past as an offensive line coach, particularly with wide zone. Keith Carter does, however, have a lot of blips on his radar in terms of bad pass protection units. So, that's something we have to shore up. Once again, the Minnesota Vikings had, I think, the worst interior offensive line pass blocking efficiency this year. That has to get corrected. Got to find a way to fix that. Donovan Jackson was pretty good. He will get better. But we're probably going to have a new center this year, and Will Fries was paid a bunch of money to be very average. Hey, average is better than what we've had lately, but it needs to improve for sure. So with all that said, I'm really happy with the Frank Smith hire. I think it's still a net gain getting him in the building. And when it comes to elevating Keith Carter, it's not ideal in terms of offensive line coach, not who I would choose, but I think the Frank Smith hire is a big game changer in the Minnesota Vikings' ability to potentially run the football much better this offseason. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, Miami was their running game has been great. Their running backs all seem to perform to like the last 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it seems like a good hire. And again, yeah, they had a pretty good offensive mind running the show there, and now he's in, now he's with the Chargers. So he could learn a little bit from him too. So there's a lot of good things. It's a good hire, great experience, and again, coming from a pretty good offensive minded head coach that he was under for a while. There's a lot to a lot of things they take with them and bring to another team. And I really I live near Miami, so it's it was I would peek over and see what they're doing, and a lot of running backs had success there.
Now on defense, we did bring in a couple new guys as well. Gerald Alexander, he is our new defensive passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach. He's taken over for Durante Jones, who got a job with the Commanders as their defensive coordinator. He's coming from the Steelers, where they work together with Brian Flores. And I'll just say that looking at the Steelers' Twitter, they were pissed off to lose this guy. He seems like a good coach. I think we found a good one with this guy. So I think him and Flores, they've worked together in the past. Obviously, he came here, leaving the Steelers to join Flores, so he must get along with Flores just fine. No issues there. So I think that's an interesting hire. And then also we picked up a guy named Ryan Nielsen. He is the defensive running game coordinator. I believe he comes from the Jaguars, who had a pretty good run defense this last year. And, by all accounts, another good hire on the defensive side.
And our run defense became surprisingly good most of the season. Last, we were kind of worried about it early, but God, we shut down really good running backs.
It picked up in the first, the Falcons game was not great against Bijan.
Yeah, but then you look at the Lions, and then you look at Baltimore, and like, God, these guys are going to run over us, and they didn't. So
I agree.
Yeah,
and the Eagles too. They threw
Eagles
all over
too.
us.
Yeah,
They got us on deep balls.
Saquon Barkley didn't do shit against us.
Nope. I kind of want to go up here. There were some comments here that we wanted to highlight. Sully says that maturity is the key with McCarthy. The 9 shit has to stop, and those taunting fouls are unacceptable. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to look long and hard at that stuff over the offseason and come back determined and ready to go. That's my guess. For a kid that came in, and what we talked about was, oh my God, how mature is this kid, right? Like beyond his years, but he gets too amped up. And like, I don't want to say don't be you, like you should be you out there, but you have to contain it, right? So he's got to work on that for sure.
And again, I brought it up today in another show that some of it seems performative, but I do think he's genuine in the way he acts. I don't think he's a show or fake, but you kind of cringe at, like, what did he just do? And yeah, he goes and has that taunting penalty after a run and lowers his shoulder, and it's the last game of the year. And it's like, run out of bounds. You're the quarterback, dude. But what brings it to me about the way he tries to I'm the leader. You see him on the sidelines, just every single after they go 3 and out, he's like over there just going down each player and stuff. And I'm like, brings me to what Peyton Manning said about his first time in the huddle as a freshman at the University of Tennessee. He goes, okay, guys, I know I'm new, but we're going to go down there and we're going to score. And his left tackle goes, shut up, kid, and just hike the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and she's like, from there, okay, yeah. Do a lot of listening and less talking, so it's like, you gotta be at the, you know your place. You kind of know your place until you earn it, kind of thing. But I think players like him. I think coaches like him. I think everybody thinks he's a legit little person, or a legitimate, true to himself type of person. He used to go in the end zone and under the crossbar, doing his meditation, and now he does it sitting down on the sidelines. So he kind of maybe realize how corny it is to do it in the end zone on your own, that you do it on the sidelines now on a chair. But it may look performative to us out here looking in, but this is how he does his daily routine. I think it's genuine. I don't think it's a fake thing or he's building it up. But yeah, calling yourself 9 and saying you're saying you have an alternate personality kind of thing, that's a little over the top a little bit. You need to reel that back in.
That pisses me off, though, because Justin Jefferson has an alternate personality called Jetta's, and we don't bat an eye because the guy's good at football. So a little bit of it's a double standard. I understand that he's got to perform to not get made fun of. But part of it, too, is, and I'm just going to say it, like part of it, too, is because he's a young white quarterback. That's just the fact. It's easier to point at him and call him a goober because of that. So, you know what I mean? If he was better and he was, winning games and throwing for all these yards and touchdowns, nobody would care about the 9 thing. We wouldn't be saying anything. So I just want him to be him. And if he wins games, like, the rest is going to figure itself out. Dylan says, if you look at the possible available quarterbacks in the offseason, can we all admit that Kyler Murray is the most talented, at least? Yeah, I have no problem admitting that. In fact, I've been vocal that as long as the offset language thing is true, which has been reported by Matthew Collar, and he gets released, I'm all for that scenario. I don't want to send draft picks that way for that contract. But if he comes here on a cheap contract for like a 1 year prove it type scenario, I'm game with that situation. Are you?
Is he coming in guaranteed starter, or is he competing? What depends on the scenario.
I think he would have the
I'm not a
leg
big fan
up.
of him. I know that.
I think he would have the leg up on the competition. He would take the first snap in training camp, and then JJ McCarthy would have an opportunity to beat him. But, I think he's, QB1 on the depth chart from day one.
Yeah. I don't know how they feel about him, so I don't know. Their talk.
So let's go here.
Go ahead.
Would you rather have Aaron Rodgers or Kyler Murray? And death isn't an option.
What's that?
I said, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers or Kyler Murray? And death is not an option.
If it's a one season scenario, probably Aaron Rodgers.
I'm taking Kyler Murray over that.
You want the upside.
Exactly.
I know what I'm gonna get.
Geno Smith or Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray, probably.
Yeah. Mac Jones or Kyler Murray?
Mac Jones showed improvement. Yeah, it's pretty even to me, but I would probably lean towards Kyler Murray, talent wise.
Yeah.
Just his physical ability to make plays and stuff, but
Sully says trade Addison and Grenard, add picks, restructure O'Neal and Hawkinson, cut Ryan Kelly and Aaron Jones. I can get on board with that.
Well, Aaron Jones doesn't need to be cut in his end of his contract.
So, Jonathan Grenard, I'm not in a hurry to ship him off because he's a good pass rusher and you need those to win games. It does open up an avenue to play Dallas Turner more. However, if you lose a pass rusher like Van Ginkel or Dallas Turner, now you're up Schitt's Creek, right? And your depth is poor. You really need pass rushers. So also Andrew Van Ginkel is kind of an older player. I might be looking to extend Grenard rather than trade Grenard.
Yeah, my first thought is Dallas Turner would replace Van Ginkel eventually. I think Van Ginkel's probably edged me out over Grenard.
Mm-hmm.
But gosh, he's so special, man. Van Ginkel is so special. That guy, if he stayed healthy his whole career, probably would have been a Hall of Famer. He is that so freaking talented. God, man, he's just so fun to watch. Grenard misses a lot of should-be sacks, man, but he gets after the quarterback. I think he's probably the most consistent, stayed healthy up until this year player on the team, and most just performs like every down, like he's like a can't miss player. It seems like that. I would try to keep all three of them for as long as we can.
Yeah, I agree.
I think probably this year and next year you probably have Van Ginkel. I think Van Ginkel's he's signed for what, 3 more years?
I believe so. Yeah.
But I think this year and the next year for sure, I think he's still going to be viable. And Grenard's a little bit younger, so yeah. And we've always had that. We've always had two guys with a guy waiting all the time, it seems.
Now that Kevin O'Connell seemingly calling the shots because Kwesi got fired, I don't think we see Addison get moved anymore. I don't think Kevin O'Connell is going to be in a hurry to ship out his number 2 wide receiver.
I could see that logic. I think that's some better logic.
So it's still tough. I don't see how you can pay him long term, but I also don't see him wanting to ship him and have to replace him.
Kind of a loyalty thing too. I think he took him, kind of tried to be a father figure to the dude.
That was his first draft pick too, wasn't it? I think it was.
Well, not his first draft pick.
Well, no,
Lewis
you're right.
Seam's first.
Lewis Seen, that was his first draft. You're right.
We try to forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said last week, there's like, well, I'll give Kwesi credit. He did draft the best kicker in our lifetime, in the Vikings.
Dude,
we've had some decent ones.
Hell yeah, mad respect to that pick. He really broke a curse.
That's
there.
his legacy. That is Kwesi's legacy. Is that who he drafted at kicker?
Will the Thrill has been absolute nails, and it's so different as a Vikings fan to like have confidence in a kicker. It feels weird, but that's awesome. Norpheus is again talking about the really dumb personal foul that JJ McCarthy had against the Packers, where he talked shit against the corner that he like shoulder checked on his way out of bounds. He says, I think that penalty came from all the shit that McCarthy had to swallow, frustration. He let it all out. Simple as that. How would you feel with all these, slings and arrows like thrown at you? And I get it, dude. Like, he missed his entire first season before he really got to play a snap in the regular season, before he got to make it to the joint practice that year, because we tore his meniscus. Then he had a complication after surgery and needed a second procedure. Then, he's kind of pushed to the side all his first year, and he's feeling lonely and down and depressed about how his first year is going. Okay, well, Sam Darnold leaves. Now it's your time to run the show. He has a good training camp, comes out week 1 and doesn't go well for 3 quarters, but he comes back and wins the game. He gets like NFC Player of the Week or something.
Slimed by Nickelodeon.
Yep. And then week 2, he just gets destroyed by the Atlanta Falcons. He gets a high ankle sprain. He's hit repeatedly. His protection is terrible. Now he's injured again. What is that doing for his mental health? Now he's out for 5 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Okay. He finally comes back from that injury, hurts his hand immediately against the Baltimore Ravens. Now he's struggling to throw the football accurately. All right. Then he gets a concussion against the Packers. Then he comes back against the Giants. He re-injures and aggravates his hand injury, and he fractures his hand. He tries to come back week 18 against the Packers, and he plays as well as he obviously plays well against backups, but he plays well for having a broken hand. And then he throws one pass in the second half and comes out and says, I can't throw with this broken hand. Like, I have no control over where this ball's going.
And I was the guy that said don't even play him. So.
Yeah, exactly. I said the same
commendable.
thing.
It's commendable that he actually went out there. I give him credit for that.
Yeah. So, like, Norpheus, you're 100% correct. Like, we don't give these athletes credit as human beings and emotions. With that said, like the stat that Kevin Seifert put out saying, like, there's on average less than 1 personal foul penalty on a quarterback every year, and JJ McCarthy got it. Like, you have to learn to bottle it up and to play smart. But yes, through 2 years, JJ McCarthy has had so much shit shoveled in his face. And I hope he's due for some positive regression and some good luck coming his way, because he's a good kid, and I hope it comes,
I think the only time I've seen a Vikings quarterback do that is in a highlight of Fran Tarkington spiking a ball in the back of a player's back when he hit him trying to go into the end zone, and they kicked him out of the game. That's the only time I can remember a Vikings quarterback getting a personal foul penalty. I mean, I might be wrong. It might have happened before, but taunting. You see players all the time, quarterbacks all the time lower their shoulder. Jackson Dart, all these guys lowering their shoulder, but to go make it so obvious trash talking, and they give quarterbacks leeway, right? They let them talk, but the animation he went about it, just made it I cannot not call this penalty. He gave him plenty of time to just calm the fuck down, but it's more and more. So yeah, if you're the quarterback, you can't do it. But yeah, it's just but I get it. He's frustrated. He's wanting to win this last game to make him 9-8. I encourage the passion. Yeah, but he learned from that, and I don't think he'll ever get another 15-yard penalty again.
Sully says Kyler Murray's a joke. No commitment to playing. Just wants to play video games. Daniel was also not high on our choices regarding Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, Mac Jones. I mean, the only other
they're
option,
not great.
the only other option, guys, is Joe Burrow. But like, if that's going to happen, I believe it has to happen by March 10th. The only way it's going to happen is if Burrow causes a huge scene after the Super Bowl and demands a trade. And then the Vikings, if that's the scenario and he wants out, and he makes that known that he wants out, the Vikings will go get him. I promise you that. They are going to send everything for him. And that would be awesome.
He's got to want out. He's got to say something. He's got to demand it, right?
And he's got to really demand it. And even then, the Bengals might say no, because they were the team that fought Carson Palmer tooth and nail before he finally got out of there. So I really don't think it happens, guys. But, never say never.
Did Joe Burrow retire like Palmer did?
He was super weird like late in the season. He got super weird, but Joe Burrow is kind of a weirder player.
I was talking.
Go ahead.
I was talking to Rap earlier today, and it was like Joe Burrow. He's on the sideline stewing and talking shit about his defense, and God, is he going to be that leader you want and stuff? Like, he's so talented.
Dude, put him on this team with Brian Flores' defense. This team wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's not going to complain about the defense.
So adamant about that.
He's not going to complain about the defense with us.
Daniel says, number 2 wide receiver, starting left guard, and a kicker. That is Kwesi's legacy. Dude, the drafts were so fucking bad. Excuse my French. So bad. First, make no mistake, Kwesi was let go because of the lack of draft success. It was bad.
You might throw in Dallas Turner there. And,
he mentioned right there, Dallas Turner still improving. He did really come on at the end of last season for sure. He actually had a better year this year than the pass rusher from the Rams, who had such a great year his rookie season and hurt us in the playoffs. Can't remember his name for the life of me right now.
Starts with a V, right?
Our comment section is really good at remembering names before I can look them up. But
you should do your homework, man.
Yeah, I should do my homework. That was a really good pick. It looks like Dallas Turner is improving. The issue is just how much capital was spent to go get Turner. Remember how they preemptively traded up so that they would have ammo to potentially move up and try to get Drake May, and then they couldn't close the deal, so now they just have 2 first-round picks. It was kind of weird process. Like, when that trade happened, it was on a Friday. I remember I was in clinic, and I was waiting for the second part of that trade, right? Remember they traded up with Houston? And you're like, okay, the Vikings just traded up. Now they have 2 first-round picks. Now we expect the next domino to drop. Are they going to trade into the top 3? And nothing ever happened. And we were like, what the hell? It was just weird process.
And then Kwesi had to explain it.
He's like, it just gives us more options. We just wanted optionality. Like, okay.
That's the worst word in the world, optionality.
Dude, just set that up before the draft starts. Like, hey, Texans, are you cool with this? Because we're going to be on the phone with the Patriots. If they agree, they say that we need at least this pick. Are you cool to execute that? We'll execute with the Patriots. Okay, cool. Let's go. You know what I mean?
I would, as the GM, I would probably just say, hey, I wanted more options in the first round. I just want more flexibility in the first round.
Sully says, I wish the Vikings would sign a big receiver that the quarterback could just chuck it up there like Higgins in Cincinnati.
There's
I agree,
some guys
man.
in the draft, it looks like.
Malachi Fields, our guy. I sent you some tweets.
Yeah, that was beautiful, man.
Some Senior Bowl tweets,
I knew it.
man.
I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I saw some talent there.
And
Notre Dame's got a second. Notre Dame's got a second running back. Their backup running back's really fucking good too.
Oh, Daniel, thank you. It was Jared Verse.
Yeah, if it said it started with a V, I couldn't remember it though.
You were right. By the way, thanks to the comment section tonight is awesome. Just really helping us drive conversation. You guys are great.
Better than the show was on just an hour ago. There's a lot more interaction.
So, I mean, we talked about the new coaches coming. We talked about the whole Kwesi, thing that took over. I guess where I want to end the show is going forward with the GM after the draft. They start looking at guys. What would be your order of operations? Would you like to see Rob Brzezinski just keep the job? Would you like to see them go out and get another guy?
Here's my issue. does Rob Brzezinski want to be the guy?
Good question.
Right? And if they go in and replace him, is he no longer going to be a Viking? You know, will he step down and go back to doing what he was doing? I don't know, man. I don't want to lose him. So I'm kind of hoping for this to work out, but my honest opinion would really have to deal on what his mindset is of taking on this responsibility. Did he take it knowing that he's not going to be the GM? It kind of sounds like that because they're talking about how they're going to do an exhaustive search, right? I didn't look at the Wolf, not Ziggy, but the other Wolf. Um, his his um his press conference on if he was talking about it or not. But yeah, I mean, is there a good time to bring in a GM after the draft, mid-season, before they drafted all these players and now you take over? Does that mean you get a mulligan your first year? Probably,
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that would be a tough situation. Can we get you away from another team? Is there someone out there that's not on a team that's got, the resume?
I
I
hear they're
would.
looking at George Payton with Denver because his contract is expiring. And he was the assistant GM under Spielman for all those years. So that's
I remember
interesting.
something bad happening that he was responsible for, though. Like when he's a Denver.
Yeah. So he took Keenan, who's the guy we rode to the Super Bowl, or I'm sorry, to the NFC Championship game, the backup.
Oh, Casey Keenum. Yeah.
That's not his name, but yes, we're thinking of the same guy.
What?
I swear his name's not Casey.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum. There you go.
Yeah. It's not Casey. It's Case Keenum. I just kind of
There you go.
made Casey a little longer.
Yeah,
he didn't. Yeah, he took Case Keenum.
And then he traded for Russell Wilson. That was also a bad move.
Yeah, dude, I don't want retreads. I don't want retreads.
So we're out on Peyton. Norvius is really out on Peyton. He made the deal for Russ Wilson. Hell no. I'm fine with that. Some of the other guys, the assistant GM for the Colts, Ed Dobbs was his name, just looks like a GM, like older bald guy, just looks like traditional GM. The assistant GM for the Seattle Seahawks under Schneider, forget his name. I think his last name is Kirchner. He's from Minnesota, one of us, as you would say. So that's an interesting guy as well. And then there's the youngin, John McKay, the assistant GM for the Rams. He's like 32 years old. For me, that's too young. I think it's too young because, again, part of the GM, and that's what Sully just brought up.
He might have some babies, go on maternity leave.
There you go. Yep. That's in his contract. Make sure he gets a vasectomy if he's going to come over here.
That's rule number 1 on our contract for the next GM is to have a vasectomy.
Yep. But McKay, with being 32, so the Jaguars just hired a super young GM. I want to make sure that you have substantial standing in the league to where you call Howie Roseman, that he has respect on the other line and he's not going to take advantage of you because you're just this young kid. You know what I mean? Like, not only that, but I need you to command a building, something that apparently Kwesi never did during his tenure here. So these are some things that I have some concerns with a young kid like McKay. Daniel says, just give me somebody who can draft. That's all. Just hit some damn draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I said last week, we got 3 or 4 starters that he drafted, and quarterback didn't play well.
Dave, let's fire up a PFF mock draft post Senior Bowl. End the show on a mock.
You want a mock?
I want a mock. feel like Purple Daily has that trademarked. I'm going to get fined. We're going to do consensus style. Every team in the Super Bowl is its draft recipe. Yeah, I agree, Norpheus. I like Kirshner as a guy. I hope they look into that.
Is that the guy Seattle?
Yeah. You know they're going to go away from the analytical type because that's what they always do, right? Like they're going to go the most hardcore football, crusty GM guy, old scout guy that they're
It was
going
like
to find.
Studwell.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge Studwell fan. He was my favorite player. When someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I said 6'2", 220.
Studwell was awesome. He was a great front office member too.
Yeah.
He's great at his job. So I was tracking the Senior Bowl this year, and there's a lot of defensive talent at the Senior Bowl. A lot of defensive line talent. Some of those defensive tackles are very interesting.
It's the guy from Florida. Is it Florida?
Caleb Banks. That dude is a monster, dude. 6'6", 330 pounds.
Yeah.
He looked to me like Chris Jones out there. He moved different for that size, and he was very heavy hands, just winning all over the place. And his story was he didn't play much this year because of a foot injury. I think he needed surgery. And so he's proving in this pre-draft process now that he's healthy. He might not be there for us at our pick at 18. He could go higher. But if he is there, he's going to be in heavy consideration. All right, comments. We're going to go with your consensus here. All right, so pick 18. Keldrick Falk. Now, I don't know a lot about him. His average draft position is 16.8, but I know he's a very athletic pass rusher. Caleb Banks made it to us. The Beast. Can we scroll down a bit?
I'm trying to. Just messing up. All right.
Avion Terrell, the cornerback. I like his game, but he's a little bit undersized. Caden McDonald, he's the defensive tackle. He's the run stuffer. He reminds me a lot of that kid the Lions just drafted, but he's kind of a one-trick pony run stuffer. I think you can find those later in the draft, so I'm not the biggest on him. He is super young, so you could develop his pass rush game. It's just got a long ways to go. Sadiq, the tight end, he's super athletic. He's just not a good football player yet. He hasn't put it together. You see his stats just aren't there. Now here's a guy.
Man.
See, only a 69 receiving grade. Casey Concepcion, interesting wide receiver prospect. To me, this is Caleb Banks, but let's see what our trade offers are. Now, Norpheus says tall defensive tackles worry me. They get washed out. 6'6", 288, big lengthy pass rusher. He's talking about the Auburn kid. Yeah, he is a athletic specimen.
Quasey would take this one. 30.
Sully wants big citrus, so he's a guy we always look at in the second round. Sully.
Quasey will take this Denver trade.
30th. What is it? They want to drop down to 30. Yeah, I think that's too far. Who else wants to trade? Anybody? Or is that the only team?
It says trade 3.
Scroll down more.
It's us. Broncos. 31st or down to 71st.
So nothing. Let's just stick and pick. Now, do me a favor. Click on Falk. Daniel says, is Love available? Laugh out loud. He typically goes pretty high in these drafts.
Like
Falk is 6'6", 285 junior. He's 16th overall on PFS Big Board. Can you go to stats and show us? He had a 75.8 grade. Let's see. Only 2 sacks this year, 9 sacks last year. Pass rush grade is 66. Run defense grade is very good, very high. So looks like this is a guy who needs to refine his pass rush ability. He's got length, he's got size, but not a finished product yet.
Still,
Honestly, if it
weird
was me,
player.
I like the upside of Caleb Banks and his size. My computer says that it's running low, so if you lose me, just know that I lost power. Now, again, his grade's going to be poor because
he was injured, right?
The injury, yes. So this is more of a projection, but he's a athletic monster, huge guy, and he dominated the Senior Bowl.
And he's kind of the guy, kind of like the body type we've been hoping for a D tackle for a while now as fans. Again, I'm not sure that's what Flores wants, though, but we'll take him.
Let's go Caleb Banks. Comments. Daniel, you're saying no for Caleb Banks? I don't know what you're saying. Or are you saying that Love isn't available? All right, so let's go.
Not a fit for a 3-4. Wouldn't he be a nose tackle?
Who are we talking about?
Banks? I don't know.
Caleb Banks is going to be a 3 technique.
He's okay with Banks, solid tool. He said, Daniel says no. Okay. Shit. So we're at safety.
So we're picking at 49 here.
6 foot 220.
He's a good size safety. Got a good grade, 86.6 grade this
coverage
year.
Grade. Plays in the SEC.
Very, very good coverage grade.
2 years of good grades.
That's interesting. I like him. Let's see who else is on the board, but keep him in mind.
This is interesting.
I think we can probably wait on tight end, to be honest. He's got good grades, though. D'Angelo Pons, I like him as a corner. I always compare him to Antoine Winfield, the way that he plays. He's small, but he sticks his nose in there, dude. He's feisty. Very good grades. The passer rating against him is amazing.
2 interceptions.
But he is a smaller corner. Let's scroll down a bit more. Chris Johnson, he's a corner I like. I think he's got very good pass. He's 6 foot 195. He's a little bit bigger. 91 PFF grade this year. Yeah, 92.4 coverage grade this year. Passer rating in his area was 16.1 this year. He had 4 picks. He had a great year. So that's another good one that I like. He just brings a little bit more size. Might fit more in the Flores system, just knowing that they covet size a little bit more. So Chris Johnson's definitely a guy I'm looking at in the second round. I say we roll with the corner, man. Let's take Chris Johnson. It's an area of need. We're extremely thin there. Sully says take Johnson. And then Daniel also says Chris Johnson over Pons. Yeah, everybody says Chris Johnson here. At 82, we'll see if Big Citrus is on the board. I'm not sure if he'll be there or not. Can you click into defensive tackle? Yeah, he's probably going to be off the board by now. We missed out on Big Citrus. That's okay. We got Caleb Banks. All right, let's go back. Let's just look at all positions. Yeah, I was going to say running back is an area of need.
This guy's young, 1,400 yards.
5.8 yards per attempt. I believe he's got good athleticism too.
A lot of 46 receptions.
88 grade. I am interested in somebody who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Like we need that to pair with Jordan Mason for sure. Let's see who else is on the board.
Short.
I wonder if Fields is still on the board, the wide receiver from Notre Dame. Let's go take a look at receivers.
Yeah, that'd be a good pick.
You see him?
Yeah, he's right here, Malachi Fields.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah,
I was
right
going to say it's not showing me on the screen. Let's go Fields, man. Talk about these guys were all looking for a tall wide receiver here. They do want us to look at center. So that is something we should take a peek at as well.
Yeah, let's look.
That's a great idea.
Malachi Fields looked like freaking amazing at the.
He looked really good at the
Bowl.
Senior Bowl, and they did not utilize him well at Notre Dame. So full disclosure, I don't think he makes it to this area.
Yeah, young quarterback.
Yeah. Let's go look at the interior offensive line here. Oh, that Sam Hecht guy. A lot of people like him. He had a good Senior Bowl. Seeing a lot on Twitter about him. 6'4", 300, good size, senior. 80 overall grade this last year. He gave up no sacks through 3 seasons. Look at that. Only allowed 1 hit. That's pretty good.
Who would play right away? Do you think Fields or Hecht would play right away?
Let's see. Let's scroll down after Hecht and see if there's somebody after him that we like. We might be able to wait on center until our next pick.
Well, some of these guards might be able to play center.
That Rutledge guy, not him. Yeah. Exit out of Burton.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, are you under him right now? I can't. Yeah, this guy. 6'4", 330. He's moving to
nice.
Center. Thor was really talking this guy up. Let's see his stats here. See how his grades look. So definitely had a better year this year. Gave up 2 hits, no sacks. Let's scroll down and look at the run grade and the pass blocking grade. 76 run block grade, 78 pass block grade. True pass set blocking grade was 84. It's fine. So what I think is we should take Fields because it looks like we have options at center. Let's see. Sully, look at centers. Norphia says Price should be better pick for this team. So I think he's looking at the running back Price.
Okay. Where is he? I don't see a Price.
Looks like he's already taken. We missed out on Price. So he's the backup. There's Singleton. I like him. Keep an eye on him. We might be able to snag him with one of our picks coming up. Yeah, Nicholas Singleton. He is a athletic specimen. In 2024, he averaged 6.4 yards per carry. He's going to blow away the combine. He's going to run like a 4.2 40. He's got good hands. His issue is he just can't find the hole. Let's go with Malachi Fields.
Oh, shit. Got a running back.
George is yelling Raymond. He likes Raymond. What's up, George?
We're gonna veto and go with Malachi.
Yeah, dude. 6'4", runs like lightning. Malachi Field's going to be a great pick. Rounds out our wide receiver room well, too, because we need that height. Somebody was telling us we need a T. Higgins. There we go. We just got a fast T. Higgins.
This is 6'4", 220.
Yep.
Get up and get it.
There we go. And then with 92 or 97, I think we take a center. And at 161, you take a fast running back.
It's got to be a
anyone
bad quarterback class. If Carson Beck is ranked 91.
Scroll up a bit though. I want to say some. This Rodriguez linebacker from Texas Tech, second on the board here. He had a phenomenal Senior Bowl. Absolutely lit it up. Look at that 93 grade this year. He's a little undersized. His run defense grade was amazing. His coverage grade was amazing.
Is he interior? Is he your outside? Is it middle linebacker?
I think he's undersized. So I believe he's an undersized inside linebacker. Go look at his size real quick under first look. 6'1", 235. Yeah. Kind of on the shorter
side. Should have a lot of tackles then. Yeah. Probably
I still think we need to go center. I don't think I think we need a day one starting center, and I think you got to take that with this pick. But just wanted to throw that out there.
So you're thinking Rutledge? I love how big he is.
Who's the best available here? Oh, shit.
You said Kalen Rutledge, right? Oh, it looks like we lost power. So, hey guys, you go center here. We I guess Kalen Rutledge can play center. He was Jacob Rodriguez. Oh, you want him? Yeah, his computer died, didn't have a charger. So yeah, I mean, Rodriguez, linebacker. I'm always for best player available and go find a center. So I am going to override and go Jacob Rodriguez. This is amazing stats. And when Cashman goes, or when our starting linebacker goes down, our backups aren't really filling in. So, and he is getting older, so this would be a nice little addition. He is I mean, they say undersized, but off the ball linebackers are starting to be this size, so I have no problem with this. 6'1", senior. Yeah, Ivan Pace is kind of run his course, and Cashman's getting older. So this would make sense. This would make sense. What do we got? I've only got this going 5 rounds, so this is our last pick. Oh, and what do you know? Center for top player available. 3'11", 6'5". Let's look here. He has 78 grade. Run block 75. Pass block 84. Center for the Indiana Hoosiers. Safety, Fitzgerald. 5'11", 205. 90 grade. And coverage grade. Yeah, Cashman's awesome. Yeah. When he gets out, we kind of take a dive defensively, so yeah, we took a linebacker. because of Ivan Pace and Cashman aren't the. Cashman's getting older. Ivan Pace isn't the answer. Cornerback. 6'2", 195. That's not bad. 81 across the board. These are our picks so far. We took Caleb Banks, Christian Johnson, cornerback, Malachi Fields, wide receiver. We're talking we need a center. Best player available right now is a center. Having a little issue with the all right. I had to adjust the screen a little bit. We got Pat Coogan at center. Look at my center or running back. Yeah, let's look at running back. The running back that Skoldock wanted is gone. Overall grade 75 for Levon Moss, 5'11", 210. Is there a running back you guys like? That didn't look good. Not in love with these running backs. Moss is damn good. Let me look. Yeah, he's got good numbers. 155. So 5'11", 210. Like the size. He decent size, 5'2" per carry, 6'3" last year. Doesn't have a whole lot of yards, must have been injured. I don't know the background. Had not a whole lot of numbers on him. Check the trades. Problem is I got to stay in the 5th round because I've only gone through the 5 rounds. So we got Eagles. They go down to 179. And we're at 161. That means center's probably gone. So, yeah, some of these guys would be gone that some of you guys liked. Look at this tight end. 6'4", 255, not bad size. Stats. 635 yards receiving. Receiving grade 75. Yeah, not a bad player. Technically, they need center. Yeah, I'm gonna go center. It's we'll probably get a good grade on it because you draft them ahead of the expected. Mock draft assistant. They're saying we shouldn't have drafted Malachi Fields. We should have drafted Johnson. Got a B+ for Banks, B+ for Johnson, C- for Malachi Fields, Jacob Rodriguez a B, and Pat Coogan an A. And we're bottom 39% of Viking drafts. But honestly, I'm pretty. I got to look more into Chris Johnson, and Pat Coogan and Jacob Rodriguez to make me feel better about this draft. But I like Caleb Banks and Fields. What do you guys think? SPFF, they suck. Yeah, I like their draft setup though. Yeah. Hey, it's a tool. We didn't draft because of it. Malachi Fields didn't have great grades. We drafted because we liked him in the Senior Bowl, and the same one with Banks. We liked him in the Senior Bowl. But and we looked at some various things. But hey, Daniel Fa, thank you, appreciate it. You like the draft? That's our draft. I would take that draft right now based on what I know. We'll look more into it. We'll talk more. We'll have more drafts. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining. Again, Minnesota Sports Talk. Sorry we lost Skull Doc. His power on his computer went out and he didn't have his charger. Anything can happen. All right, see you guys. Skull Vikes. We got a new day ahead. We're gonna have a new GM situation, and I love the unknown. We'll see what we got. Skull Vikes.